Hi, I'm Tianna Wallpher, and you're listening to Pro Lacrosse Talk.
On Schreiber. Sidearm whip! Scores! Now in front. Fennell scores! Paul Rabel splits two and scores!
Kylie O'Miller showing off those shifty skills.
Kelly, not shy, bounces one home! What a start!
Welcome to Pro Lacrosse Talk, the voice of Pro Lacrosse. I'm Hutton, he's Adam. Together we're bringing you interviews with your favorite players and coaches, as well as news from all 4 professional lacrosse leagues. Today we're joined by a member of the WPLL Brave, 2019 WPLL Champion and AllStar, Tianna Wallpher. Tianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Tianna. You grew up in Ellicott City, you stayed close to home, attended UMBC before transferring to Towson University. What impacted your decision to stay in the Baltimore area and eventually attend Towson?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is my family. Ever since, I was younger, my family's always supported me, always been there for my sports. And just coming in as a high school student, that's where it kind of took that jump to be more serious, where I started looking at colleges. And, back then, you're looking when you're a freshman, a sophomore is when I committed to UMBC, so it starts early. And I just knew that I wanted my family to be a part of it. My family is very close. They mean everything to me. That's always the number one thing, and I think that's why I've even stayed in this area for as long as I have. And, I want to be able to, when I'm playing, look in the stand and see them there and have that support system. And I think that was really one of the biggest influences in staying close, even when I was transferring from UMBC to Towson.
That's awesome. So while you were at Towson, you guys obviously had a fantastic record, especially that career high 16 wins during your senior year. You recorded 42 college turnovers and ranked 4th in program history with that. So obviously had a stellar time and career at Towson. How do you think your time there really helped you prepare you for the professional game?
I think the competition. People think of the conferences, like Maryland's playing in, you get up to, Syracuse, you have those big name teams. Towson isn't really going to be the first team that pops into mind, but the CAA, that's a conference brand, has some really good teams and some strong talent. You got JMU, you have Elon, you've got Delaware. I mean, it's consistent of so many teams that have good players, good programs. So I think that helped prepare. And then even just playing teams outside of our program, you had Loyola right down the road in Hopkins, 2 very great programs with a lot of history that you could play right down the road. So I think I was lucky to be a part of that, and as Towson to be exposed to that, to see different teams, different levels, and that just makes you a better player overall because you see so many different things. You see so many different players with different skills and the different coaching. So I think that definitely is the reason why I've been prepared for the professional league. But, I still, every single game, I'm just like, it's hard. It's hard. It's a challenge, but that's why you play the sport, and that's why you want to play the sport, especially defense. It's one of the hardest positions to play because you've got to stop these phenomenal players from scoring, and that is near impossible, especially in the professional league.
Yeah, and you mentioned, how hard it is to play defense, and, most of the time defenders don't get enough credit as well, especially on the stat sheet. If you go by the offensive players, we can judge them based on their, their goals and their assists, but with defenders, you have to kind of judge them on the intangibles that you don't see on the stat sheet. So, how's it been like, what's it been like playing, defense in a position that doesn't get as much attention and recognition as it probably deserves?
You don't really play defense for, that recognition, or I guess the limelight, which, even when you're playing offense, that's not really your goal either. But you just know going in as a defender, you're not really going to get the love that maybe the attackers or middies do, which is fine because our goal is to go ahead and do all the dirty work. Back in Towson, we were the anchor. That's what we refer to ourselves as, like the anchor of the team, just because you're that last line of defense. It's the first defender all the way down to the goalie. And so your job is to stop those players from scoring and get the ball back into the offensive hands so that they can score. And that's something that I think every defender has a little bit of the chip on their shoulder, that pride coming in. You make that play and you get it back to the offense and they score. You are a part of that. people might not see that. They might see the, the pass, the goal, the shot, but it started with you. And, I started playing defense. I played low attack when I was young, like 10, 11, and then I got moved to defense. And at first, my initial thought, as a young kid, you like to pass and, see your teammates score, and you're like, oh, I was a big part of that, because you grow up thinking that's what matters. And I think that's something that still is perceived in club and lacrosse now, even with the younger players. But I got moved to defense, and it obviously worked out for the best. My coach knew what they were doing. It's just, in that heat of the moment, I'm like, why am I moving to defense? I love attack. I love thinking the passes, trying to go and score. But I think that defense is a special position, just like with goalie, just because, you're doing the opposite. You don't have control. It's almost like a chess match. You have to try to stop the attacker, and they're going to make every move on you to try to get around you. And you've got to just stand your ground and stop them.
So we kind of talked a little bit about the CAA, and you had a lot of teammates this year on the Brave that were kind of from JMU or Towson, and your head coach for the Brave, Coach LaMonica, was also one of your coaches at Towson. What was it like being kind of reunited with her for this season?
Yeah, I think it was awesome to see so many Towson players, and CAA in general was great. And like I said before, it's a conference at very high level, but it kind of gets overlooked a little bit, which is, it's fine. It's just it's nice to see so many players, especially on the same team. You go from playing against, JMU, we're rivals. You go against playing them. Now you're playing together. It's just like it's fun to do it. It's fun to see how that kind of turns and how everything just ends up that way, and comes full circle. But it's great playing for Sonia again. I love playing with her my sophomore year through my senior year at Towson. Great coach. It's always fun just kind of talking about different things, to be able to joke around but then also be serious, and being that aspect that I thought I lost at Towson, that I wasn't going to be playing again. You graduate from college, you don't know if that's the end of your career, and before the league existed, it was the end of your career. You might play pickup, but that was it. So very, very thankful for the opportunity to be able to play, and even more so thankful to play for Sonia again, and to have so many of my teammates, Emily Gillingham, Gayla Montalbano, Kelly McQuilkin, Kelsey Donnelly. I never got a chance to play with because I transferred in when she graduated, but she is a volunteer assistant. So she is actually on the sideline, and I always heard how great of a goalie she was, and, this first year and then this year she definitely has backed that up. She's a phenomenal goalie, so it's fun to see a lot of Tigers there, and then, the same with JMU, and to play with such great players, and, the rivalry, college, once you get over that, you're just playing with great players who are making you better.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And, certainly the camaraderie that you guys had helped you in the championship, because, you guys went down 3 goals in the fourth quarter, and you were part of the, defensive effort that really stifled that high-powered fight offense and allowed your team to come back, and you guys came from behind in the fourth quarter to win the WPLL Championship. What was the experience like, especially after losing in the championship the previous year?
Yeah, I think that's what also helped us come back from that deficit. That third quarter we were down, and as a defensive unit we kind of brought in okay, let's go, and picking ourselves up. But a lot of credit goes to that midfield. Marie killing it on the draws. You had Dempsey, Amanda just coming up and working their butts off just to get the draws and get some opportunities for us. And then defense, just like I said before, chip on the shoulders, and just wanting to stand our ground and just say we need to help keep the team in it. You see how hard the offense, the draw team's working. We've got to pick it up on our end. Like I said, the anchor, we don't want to sink the ship. We want to keep it steady. So I think that was one of the main things with us, and resonated with us after we were down 3, and once we started chipping away and coming back, that's when you started to kind of feed into it more and really, really keep stepping up and just saying, after each goal, we just set the time on a clock, however many minutes were left. That's the only thing we cared about. We didn't care about the score. And, to win it after last year, how we lost it, it was a surreal moment. I still can't believe that we won, and to come back like that against, the fight who has, you go down their whole roster, their whole team, just really, really great players along with the whole league, but you have some big names on there. So I think it was kind of satisfying from how last year ended, but I think it also just encourages us and kind of fuels that fire more for next year just to keep it going. And we know teams are going to be gunning for us. So
that's awesome. And then after the championship, you found out that you were chosen as one of the 2019 WPLL honorary members of one of the AllStar teams. What was it like to find out that you were an AllStar?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's very surreal. And I might get emotional. I'm very honored. And it definitely was a big surprise. I'm not trying to say that to sound like, but I really was shocked, and to be named with the players that were on there. I was just very, very humbled, and I obviously, just like everyone else, you aren't playing for something like that. You're playing for the championship. So to get that and then be named an AllStar was just and nice extra. But it was cool to get those cupcakes. And to see and to have it say AllStar, and then to see my name and, my family just share the news with everyone. And, it was very, very exciting, very humbling. But I owe a lot of it to the team, a lot of it to the defense, to the goalies, to Sonia. I mean, every single person that's helped me along the way from high school on. My high school coaches are the reason why I wanted to play lacrosse in college, and so, there's so many people that have helped me along the way. It wasn't just me, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's great that your hard work paid off, and you're recognized for that. And it's probably awesome too getting to play professionally, because that really wasn't an opportunity a few years ago. And now you coach youth in your spare time as well. What do you tell these girls that look up to you? And do you ever think that you'd play professional lacrosse when you were younger?
Yeah, it's funny because when you're younger, I didn't know what sport I was going to play. And you're younger, you always think I'm going to be, whatever, and it changes every single week. Now I've went from basketball thinking I was going to be a professional basketball player to then field hockey. And I'm like, well, I don't think there's a professional team, but maybe I can make, the Team USA. Then it switched to lacrosse. And I think it was always kind of that, the Team USA wanting to represent your country, because that's all I had. And when there was talk and that league came out and there's talk about it, I was like, I would love to play professional lacrosse. Who doesn't want to play the sport that they love, that has been such a big part of your life when you're older? And so when it actually came true, it was very surreal, because I was like, you see those professional athletes on TV, you hear about them, you see the soccer, the women's soccer teams, something that we like to try to not compare ourselves, but just, use as something to strive for. So to say, I'm a part of that is very, very surreal from when I was younger, from switching my mind and going, well, I'll see what I can do, maybe Team USA. If that doesn't work out, that's kind of all you have for the sport, to now say, I want to be a professional lacrosse player, and I'm coaching the girls now, and I think that it's even more fun to coach them now, because you can say that can be you guys. It's not something where you used to say, well, if there's a professional league, I'm sure you could make it if one happens. Now we have it. So now there is that extra incentive, and the girls have something more to look up to, aside from the Team USA, aside from their favorite players. You have a league that you can play for. And, I have girls, I hear girls say it all the time, fans coming to the games and everything. And that's awesome, and that's really why we do it. It's not for us, it's for the generations to come. And I think that is so true, because they're going to be what grows the sport. We can help pioneer it, but it's really going to be them. And I'm excited to see where it goes in even 10 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the WPLL is doing a great job of, marketing you guys and your personalities too. I've loved the Live Like a Pro series that they've been doing over the summer. And I think that's, where you need to go. You need to bring, the individuals of the sport to these young players and show them what they can strive for. And going off of that, we're going to, have some fun questions after our break, kind of in the realm of the Live Like a Pro series or whatever. So following our break and a word from our sponsor, we'll get back into the action with that. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of the Pro Lacrosse Talk podcast. We've been using Anchor for our podcast since the very start. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place, and better yet, it's free. They allow you to easily record and edit your podcast so it sounds great and send it out to all the major networks such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and many more. Better yet, they connect you with advertisers so you can start making money from your podcast right away. So if you're interested in starting a podcast, download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Today's show is being brought to you in part by Stitcher Premium. You can use Stitcher Premium to listen to shows ad-free such as Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, My Favorite Murder, Wolverine the Lost Trail, or our favorite, The Fantasy Footballers. For only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year, you get access to Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, and comedy albums. Better yet, if you go over to Stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code lacrosse today, you can get 1 month free. So head on over to Stitcher, sign up, and get your free trial today. All right, welcome back. So now it's time for our 5 and 5 segment. Adam's going to ask the lacrosse-related questions, and then I'll ask the non-lacrosse-related questions. But let's dive into it. Go ahead, Adam.
So first question was one of my favorites. What's your top song currently on your workout or game day playlist?
Ooh, top song? Yeah, that is a tough one. It's going to be a rock song.
Okay.
And I feel like I've got to go with Paranoid, Black Sabbath.
Okay.
That was my goal song my senior year in college, and I think it's just a good go-to, and I have to listen to it no matter what I'm doing, at least once.
Oh, that's a good one.
Next up is, what's your current lacrosse stick setup? What are you playing with on game day?
Yeah, so the Brine Warp, using that stick, and used it all this season. It's great, accurate passing, accurate shots. I'm shooting it as a defender, but no, it's very lightweight, and that's what I'll be using. And yeah, works well for me.
Next up, who was your funniest teammate on the Braves this season?
That's another hard one. I'm going to have to go with, I say Dana Doby. She keeps everything lighthearted, and she's just a good person to have on the sideline, but she'll joke around with you and make you kind of just laugh with her and, feel at ease if you're a little nervous and everything. But, yeah, I'd say Dana.
Dana, awesome. Yeah, she was someone that I'm hoping to get on the pod in the future, so that's good choice. So who is your favorite lacrosse player to watch as a fan? And that could have been kind of a previous player when you were younger or someone currently.
Yeah, I probably have to go with Katie Hirsch.
Okay.
We had crossed paths when I was 11 or 12, maybe younger. Sometime around then, I played for Heroes, and my assistant coach was from Hofstra, and so she had Katie come and help us out. And just from there on, she was awesome, and you had a defender that you could look up to.
Sure.
I didn't really have any defender. You look up to certain players, but Katie then came in as that player that I just looked up to. I'm like, I want to be like her. As a defender now, to be playing in the same league as her, and playing against her. I'd love to play with her. But she's definitely one that I still look up to and still want to strive to be like.
Sure.
As a player, as a person, as a teammate, as a leader, just in every aspect. And so I really just, it's funny. Kind of one of those other surreal moments to think about all the players you're playing with, especially one that you've looked up to for so long.
Sure, absolutely. Now, I might know the answer to this next question since it's probably something potentially recent, but what's your favorite lacrosse moment of yours in your career thus far? Was it the championship or?
Yeah, it was the championship.
That's what I figured.
That one, it's hard because of Towson, my sophomore year, winning the championship. That's up there. I think both are very special moments for their own reasons, but definitely the professional league winning the championship because you're playing amongst the best, and so you get to say that you're number one for that year.
That makes sense.
Awesome, yeah, that bit of a softball one there to end it. Yeah, with that, we'll go into the life-related questions. What's your favorite place to vacation?
I'd have to say Outer Banks, North Carolina. That's always the family vacation. My whole dad's side goes down, and just another good time. As I said, family's very important to me, and we're all very close. So we go down, rent 2 or 3 houses, big Italian family, and spend a week at the beach. So it's always good times, fun memories, and I love seeing my family.
That's awesome. I actually go to the Outer Banks every summer with my family as well, so that's up there with me too. Where do you stay? Do you stay in like Corolla or Kitty Hawk or?
So when I was younger, Nags Head, and then it's been Avon for however many years.
Okay, I heard Avon's really nice. I've never actually stayed there, but yeah, we're in Corolla. But yeah, I love it there. It's nice and peaceful beach. It's not too crowded. But yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
All right, second question. Any hobbies or activities that you have outside of lacrosse?
Not really, which might be sad to say, other than like working out. I play flag football in the Volo Baltimore League, which is always fun, just because it gives you something to do. You're so active. It's a lot of fun with who I'm playing, and they're all great. We actually just won the league the other day, so that was kind of cool. But I'd say that. But yeah, that's about it. Hang out with family, friends. It's sad to say, but I'm working out, and if I'm not working out, then it's really just hanging out and watching Netflix.
Nothing wrong with that. A lot of the majority that we interview, we ask that question, and a lot of people are like, well, lacrosse is like my life. They have a few other hobbies, but I feel like when you're a professional, once you get to that, if you're at that level, you probably have been, obsessed with it for a while. So I don't think there's any harm in that at all.
Yeah, no, the Volo football is more impressive. I only do the skee ball Volo league at Mother, so that's a little more athletic than the Volo league I do.
And going off of that one, is there anyone that you admire outside of lacrosse, whether it's another professional athlete, public figure, or even a personal acquaintance that you have?
I'd say family. My mom. She's definitely one that you look up to, and I'm probably blanking on some professional athletes that I looked up to when I was younger. One's Jalen Smith, Notre Dame player, big Notre Dame fan. That's one thing. Notre Dame football, love it, but he got hurt, and just to see him kind of turn around, and he's just a great leader and a very, very hard worker. That's one player that I've always looked up to. And then, I definitely, my mom is up there. Might be cliche, I'm sure a lot of people say that, but, who better than the person that you kind of grew up the closest with, and she's done a lot to put me first and put the family first, and something that I will forever be indebted to her for doing that, and grateful for her, so.
That's awesome. Now, number 4 we got, do you prefer to dine out, carry out, or cook at home?
Can I say Uber?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely one of the, I guess, sad things, too, is, as an athlete, you get used to the late nights. You get home at like 10 o'clock, and you're like, I'm really not feeling like cooking dinner. So then you get some food. So I will admit that. But yeah, I'll probably say I'll go with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. I've been using DoorDash a little bit, so that's kind of similar, I guess, to Uber Eats. Yeah, it's convenient. I like it, and it's not too much more expensive either. So,
Right.
But now our final question is, what book would you recommend to a teammate or friend that you've either read recently or read in the past?
This is another hard one because I love Harry Potter.
Okay.
I've read the books. I listen to the audiobooks. Driving everywhere. I'm a Harry Potter nerd, fanatic. So I can't say Harry Potter just because it's popular. I'd say either that or Stephen King, The Shining, or It. I love the book, the old movie, not the one that just came out, the one that was on TV. That was the first scary movie I watched. My sister wanted to make me watch it, so thank you for doing that, Asia, my sister. But yeah, I'd say that book is a good one for a horror book if anyone likes, scary books, but I got to go with Harry Potter.
I was a big Harry Potter fan growing up younger, and I'm actually been reading a lot of Stephen King recently, but the one I'm really trying to get through that I'll pick up and I just won't be able to get through it is The Stand. It's good. It's so long. It's like huge. It's got to be like 800 pages or something, but yeah, he's good though. I definitely a big Stephen King fan. But that wraps up our 5 and 5 segment. My final question that I always pose to our guests is, what is some advice that you would give to a young lacrosse player that's aspiring to be a professional athlete one day?
I'd say to make sure you're putting in all the work and to be working when no one's watching. I think that's very true, where you can work out if someone's watching, your coach is making you do it, you've got to do it. But what are you doing at home when no one's watching, when no one's kind of monitoring you or making you do anything? I think that you doing that, sticking to the basics, and just believing in yourself. Confidence is the biggest thing. I think that will go a long way when you're working on your skills, working out, anything. It's just to believe that you can be out there on that field, and that you can be just as good as anyone out there.
That's awesome. Well, Tianna, thank you so much for coming on the pod with us today. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk about kind of your career and all that. But before we head out, do you want to tell our fans where we can find you on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, so Instagram's just going to be my name, Tianna Wallpher. It's Tianna Wallpher, Wallpher. Twitter, I don't really use, but still follow me on there. It's going to be Wallpher3. And, yeah, that's about it for social media for me.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Tianna.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed it. And like I said before, I really admire what you guys are doing for sport in general, and then especially for the WPLL. So thank you so much.